who has the easiest schedule in the Big 12 on a scale of 1 to 14, and 1 being the easiest, 14 being the hardest? First, I'm going to give some information out, like who made the NCAA tournament last year, how many of those games they're going to play this year in a conference, and how many of those are on the road. Baylor was an NCAA tournament team. They play 8 NCAA tournament type of games, 5 of those on the road. BYU, 7 NCAA tournament games, 3 of those on the road. UCF, 8 NCAA tournament games, 4 of those on the road. Cincinnati, 8 NCAA tournament games, 4 of those on the road. Houston, 7 NCAA tournament games, 3 of those on the road. Iowa State made the NCAA tournament last year with 7 NCAA tournament teams. They're going to play this year, and 3 of those on the road. Kansas, 9 NCAA tournament games, 4 of those on the road. Kansas State, 9 NCAA tournament games, 4 of those on the road. Oklahoma made the NCAA tournament last year. They have 7 NCAA tournament games, but 4 of those on the road. And Oklahoma State made the NCAA tournament last year, and they have 8 NCAA tournament games, essentially in the Big 12, but 3 of those on the road. TCU had 8 NCAA tournament games, 5 of those on the road. Texas made an NCAA tournament last year, but 7 NCAA tournament games are going to play this year, 4 of those on the road. Honestly, I would say Texas Tech has 8 NCAA tournament games, 5 of those on the road. West Virginia with 7 NCAA tournament games this year, 3 of those on the road. And West Virginia did make the NCAA tournament, by the way, last year. So, I will say I'm using the road games as kind of like the deciding factor on this. Number 1 for me is West Virginia, only because of the road games, how many NCAA tournament games are going to play. The same thing goes for Iowa State, number 2. And BYU, I would say, actually, Houston would be number 3 for me, because I think they'll be better than BYU, who will be has the 4th easiest schedule, in my opinion. So Texas is only number 5, not because of I'm hating on Texas. It's just based on facts. You gotta look at it that way. Then obviously Oklahoma would be at number 6. Oklahoma State's 7. I think they built more for the Big 12 coming into this. I mean, they're in the Big 12, but some of those teams, all those new teams, did not make the NCAA tournament, as you could tell. I mean, Cincinnati would be 8, UCF 9, and the only reason why I put UCF at number 9 is because of the road games, the number. After that, Baylor should be higher. I mean, which I have Baylor at number 10. Texas Tech 11, TCU 12, Kansas 13, Kansas State 14. So, but to me, 13 and 14 could be easily swapped. Could be, and I kind of just try to think who's the tougher road game for both of those teams, and they have the same opponents. It's just I think Kansas State's just gonna. If you look at it, Kansas State could be worse than Kansas. That's why I give them Kansas the nod and for the schedule, and maybe they make the NCAA tournament this year, but I don't know. So. Of course, this is not indicative of where they're going to finish in the Big 12, because I do think Baylor will step up this year and be better than last year. First of all, they got Dre Edwards. She's going to play. They added some transfers, and yes, they lost some players. 2 of them for sure were going to be gone anyway, and they lost Aiden Owens to TCU, but they upgraded, and they have not many weaknesses this year, and we'll also have to wait and see how these new teams do in the Big 12, because I'm going to be clear about the West Coast Conference for BYU women's basketball. It's not that great. The American's not that great either. So, and BYU's dealing with second-year head coach. Houston's the only team coming in the Big 12 with a long-term head coach, as well as, I mean, not really as well as, but you know what I mean. The only team in the Big 12 with a longer tenure coach that's coming into the league, because Cincinnati has a first-year head coach. Like I said, BYU has a second-year head coach. UCF has a second-year head coach. So we'll have to wait and see how the Big 12 is going to look. And maybe there is a top 10 team on this list. But I will say that Texas could absolutely lose to anybody. We've seen it. They lost to Texas Tech last year. They didn't make the NCAA tournament. Let's be clear. There was no NCAA tournament Sweet 16 teams last year. From the Big 12, there was not a single one. And I kind of had a hunch. It's just not a great of a league last year. It wasn't. And it's going to get worse, I think, once Texas and Oklahoma leave. When you look at the history of Oklahoma women's basketball, they were really good under Sherry Cole for a while. But then they took a little dip. In Texas, they were really good too in the past. Then, like Karen Ashton, they were good. But not like winning Big 12s or anything. So, when you look at it, so the conference is going to get worse, I think, once both of those teams leave. And maybe if the Big 12 adds like an Arizona, that would help the conference. Arizona State, I don't know. Colorado would help the conference. It would. It's just these 4 new teams don't do anything like compared to the men's side. Houston's really the only proven team out of that list. UCF is in a growing pain. Cincinnati's been up and down. BYU's been up and down. Yeah, and I'm just telling the truth on that. And we know on the men's side anyway is way stronger than on the men's side basketball compared to the women. Anyways, if you like this content, like and subscribe, and see you guys later. 5 subscribers, we're on the road to it. Let's go.